Welcome guys to my first video in what seems like a very long time. I've said that quite a few times, but as we are just under a week away from the upcoming Premier League season, I thought I would do a video just explaining my Premier League predictions. A lot of YouTubers are doing this, so I thought, well, should jump on the bandwagon as I like doing and do a Premier League prediction. So let's just not waste any time and let's get straight into it, starting off with who I put bottom, and I think the majority of people also agree with me on this one. It is Fulham. Now, why have I put Fulham bottom? And that is been the case for a number of reasons. First, the reason is that apart from Mitrovic, I don't see many, if not any, real Premier League quality players in their squad. Mitrovic may score a lot of goals. Who knows? He may also score about 2. But so far, at the time of recording, they haven't added to their squad much, and I'm not too sure about Scott Parker as a manager, so sorry Fulham, but I put you bottom. 19th place, I put another promoted side in West Brom. I like West Brom, I like Slaven Bilic as a manager, but I think the main problem for West Brom is the complete opposite of Fulham's problem. I think Fulham, just like they did in the Premier League before, won't have many problems scoring goals. They've got a decent attacking talent like Mitrovic, but with West Brom's case, they don't have that proper goal scorer. Their main striker right now is Charlie Austin, who's in his 30s, and yet, bar one good Premier League season, hasn't really done anything at the top level yet. So I think that'll be their problem. They've got some decent creative players in their midfield, but I think goals will be their problem this season. And moving on to the final relegation spot, maybe a bit of a surprise. I've gone with Aston Villa. Just stayed up by the skin of their teeth last season, but I predicted them to fall at the second hurdle this time. I do think they'll keep hold of Jack Grealish, which would be an absolute huge win for them, but I don't think it'll be enough. I still think they need a proper goal scorer. I'm not convinced by either Wesley or Samatta. I know they're trying to get Callum Wilson, but it looks like he's heading off to Newcastle instead, so that'll be a big loss. I think that could have been a good deal for them. And again, I think Villa is similar to West Brom. I don't think I have any trouble creating chances. They've got some very good midfield players like Grealish, who is a really good player. But I think scoring goals will be their problem. And now just staying up in 17th place, I've gone with Brighton, a team who I've always predicted to go down since they got promoted. But however, this year, I do think they'll stay up. I do rate Graham Potter as a manager. I think he's done well. He did all right at Brighton last season. So he beat us twice, which is not great. Even though I obviously don't like Neil Maupay, I do think he's a decent striker and he will score goals. They brought in some decent players like Lallana, who may not be the greatest player in the world, but for a team like Brighton could do good things. However, I think the reason they'll just stay up is because they've lost Aaron Moy, which just came out of the blue, and I was not expecting that, and that would be a big loss to Brighton, despite the addition of Adam Lallana. But I think Brighton will just do enough to stay up. And they do have some decent players. Obviously, Lewis Dunk, very, very good centre-half, so I think they'll be okay. 16th place, I've gone with West Ham, a really poor season for them last season. When you look at their fan base and the stadium they have, the size of the ground, they are a pretty big club. They're not a big club, but they are one of the bigger teams outside the top 6 when you're looking at teams in England. But for some reason, they always seem to underachieve. Not convinced by David Moyes. They've got some decent players, but again, I think scoring goals will be their problem. Sebastian Haller, who smashed it in the Bundesliga, didn't catch fire last season. Felipe Anderson had an off year. But if Moyes can get the best out of the talented players they've got, they should be higher than 16th easily. But I'm not convinced by David Moyes, and that's why I put them that low down. With the players they have, they should be a lot higher than 16th. They should be at least mid-table, maybe even challenging for Europe. But they're selling. It looks the board are not doing a great job at West Ham, and I think it'll be another relatively disappointing 16th place for them. 15th place, I've gone with the final promoted side, Leeds United. I'm predicting comfortable safety for them. A big club. It's a lot of young people, maybe my age, who don't really understand the history of English football, won't really think of Leeds as a big club because they've been out the top flight for so long. Trust me, these guys are one of the biggest clubs in England, and a club which deserves to be higher than 15th in the Premier League with the fan base they've got, a worldwide fan base. But I think if you're for any Leeds fans, 15th, they'll take it in a heartbeat, considering that this is their first year back in the top flight. They brought in some decent players. Rodrigo from Valencia didn't really catch fire for them last season, but he can be a decent player. And just looking at their squad, I think they'll be okay. Marcelo Bielsa was a top coach, and I think if fans were allowed in for the whole season, they'll be even better than 15th, because the atmosphere at Ellen Road, it can be some of the, their fans are known for creating a really quality and sometimes intimidating atmosphere. When they went to the Emirates in the FA Cup, they drowned out the whole ground. Absolutely superb. I really rate Leeds fans, and a club which I know a lot of people don't like, but I actually don't mind. Leeds United, I've got a lot of respect for their fans as well, who are quality fans, go home and away every single week if they can. Obviously they can't now at the moment, but I do rate Leeds fans, and I do hope they'll be staying up, because they are a big club and they deserve to be in this league. Finishing just above them in 14th, I've got Crystal Palace. I know a lot of people actually predicting them to finish lower down the table, and that is in mind that they lose Wilfried Zaha, who, with all due respect to Palace, is their best player by an absolute country mile. But I do think they'll keep hold of Zaha for at least this season. Obviously Palace, and very rightly so, we want a lot of money for him, money which I don't think will be available for clubs to pay this year. With the financial aspect COVID has had, I do think they'll keep hold of Zaha. Ibar Eze from QPR smashed in the Championship. Can he do it in the Premier League? I think he could, but it's young. Obviously, he's still young. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Palace will be okay this season. They just need to get, again, like West Brom and West Ham, I think, and Villa, struggling for goals will be their main struggle this season. But I think Palace will be okay in a comfortable 14th. 13th, I put Burnley, a club, again, I've got a lot of respect for. I really respect Sean Dyche as a manager. I think he's done an absolutely incredible job at that club. The only problem I think for Burnley right now is they could be losing some key assets. Dwight McNeil, Tarkowski and Nick Pope, three of probably Burnley's best players. All their futures are in doubt at Turf Moor, but I do think they'll keep hold of at least two of them. I think they maybe could lose Nick Pope, but I think McNeil will stay on. I do think Tarkowski will stay as well. But I think Nick Pope could be out the door, be a big bloke, because he is a quality keeper. But again, comfortable 13th for Burnley. Don't really know what to say, really, just comfortable mid-table. Comfortable mid-table again as well for Newcastle, who I put 12th. It looks like they're bringing some good players through, with Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson coming through the door to the North East. And I know both of them are good players, good Premier League players. We've seen it before. And again, I think another comfortable season in mid-table for Steve Bruce's side. Sheffield United, I put in 11th, bit of a drop-off from last season, but it was an absolutely amazing season for Sheffield United last year. I've predicted a comfortable mid-table spot, which I think Sheffield United fans will take. Second season syndrome, is a thing. But I think Chris Wilder is a very good coach, and they should be in fine in mid-table. Bang on in mid-table, I put Southampton. Did really well towards the end of last season, recovering from that humiliating 9-0 defeat at Leicester. Ralph Hasenhüttl has done a really good job at on the south coast there. And yeah, they've got some good players. Danny Ings absolutely smashed it last season. I don't think he'll hit 22 goals again, but he is a decent player. I think he'll hit at least double figures. I think they should be okay in mid-table. Now, this could be probably the biggest surprise of my predictions. In 9th place, I've got Wolves. Bit of a drop-off. Recognised as one of the best of the rest, if you like, recently, in terms of comfortably 7th place finishes in the last 2 seasons, I think. But this season, I'm predicting a drop-off into 9th. And I think the main reason for that is, at the time of recording anyway, they haven't been able to replace Matt Doherty, who has been a key player for them in the last few years, especially in the Premier League. At the time of recording, they haven't been able to replace him. I don't know whether they will, but I don't know whether they'll keep hold of Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez. So I don't really know with Wolves. I do think 9th, they could finish 8th, could finish 7th. I don't think they'll finish any higher than 7th. But I think Wolves will maybe drop off slightly into 9th, because Matt Doherty has been a very key player for them, and so far they haven't replaced him. 8th place, I've got Leicester, a really good side, as we saw at the beginning of last season, dropped off towards the end, and that was the reason why they didn't get Champions League football. But still a brilliant season for Leicester in that Europa League spot. Again, a bit of a drop off in 8th. I don't really have a reason as to why. I guess it's because teams around them are strengthening more when they haven't. I think Ben Chilwell will be a big loss, and I think that will impact them slightly, and so that's why I've dropped them down to 8th. 7th place, I've got the team who, along with Chelsea, I think is having an absolute quality transfer window in Everton, club I have a lot of respect for. bringing in players like Allen from Everton, James Rodriguez on loan from Real Madrid. It looks like that hasn't been done at the time of recording, but it looks like it will be. Doucouré from Watford as well, looks like it's happening, so they're really doing well to that midfield, and I think that could be huge for them this year. And I think they'll get a comfortable 7th finish. Moving on into the top 6, and I've started in 6th place. I've got Spurs. Yes, I think Arsenal will finish above Spurs. I'll go into my reasoning in a bit, but Spurs, I think, I'm not too convinced about Jose Mourinho. It's maybe my inner Arsenal fan coming out here, but I'm really not too convinced about him. Yes, I don't like the guy, obviously, but I do think he's slightly past it. But that doesn't mean I think it'll be terrible. I do think he'll see out the season. I don't think he'll get sacked. I think Spurs will just drop off towards the end, maybe, like we did under Unai Emery in his first full season. But I do think 6th place for Spurs. I think they made some decent signings. Højbjerg's an okay player. Doherty's a decent player. But are they top quality players to move Spurs up to the next level? I don't think so. So I think it'll be 6th. 5th, I've got Arsenal. I think my club, Arsenal, will finish in 5th place, which I think will be okay. It's very respectable for Mikel Arteta's first full season, of a guy who I absolutely love. I think this guy is an absolute hero. I think he is the right man for the job. While I put Spurs, well, I think we are going in the right direction in terms of our signings, showing a lot of ambition, which is something we haven't shown for a very long time. Signs like Gabriel from Lille, can he do it? I'm not sure. I've only seen him play once, and it was in Champions League. He did okay. I'm prepared to be convinced. Willian on a free transfer, very good player. Very excited to see him play. Now, the main reason I put us 5th and above Spurs is I think we will sign at least one of Thomas Partey or Houssem Aouar, 2 absolutely quality players which, on their own, will transform our midfield. Danny Ceballos back on loan is a big deal as well for us. It looks like Aubameyang staying on, which is absolutely huge, probably our best business of the transfer window, and will probably feel like a new signing as well once we get that contract extension done. I do think we'll have a decent season. I will take 5th. Obviously, we want to get into that Champions League spot. That is the aim for Mikel Arteta. But we are in a transition phase right now, and I do think 5th will be respectable for us. 4th, I've got Arsenal's big northern rivals in Manchester United. Very good second half to the season from them. Bruno Fernandes was absolutely smashing for them when they signed him. Don't think they lost the Premier League game past January when we beat them 2-0 at the Emirates. I'm not too sure, but I think it'll be 4th for them. They could have finished higher, but I think down to the overall strength of the 3 teams above them, I think 4th will be where they finish. 3rd, I've got Chelsea. I don't think there's any surprise in that. I think almost everyone has Chelsea 3rd in their predictions. What a transfer window they've been having. Havertz is an amazing signing. Chilwell was a good player, but I do think they overpaid. Thiago Silva's still got it, I think, even at 36. And Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech are both absolute quality players. They both got for an absolute steal. And they are building together a quality team. The only issue I have is, can that team gel together? With so many new players, will they be able to gel? I don't know with Frank Lampard yet as a manager. He had 1 season. Yes, got him in Champions League, but did lose to us in the FA Cup final. Boom, by the way. I didn't do a video on the FA Cup final, but I'm not sure with Frank Lampard, but I do think it'll be a good 3rd place for Chelsea. And now into the top 2. No shock on who they are. Man City and Liverpool. Right. And even about 5 minutes before I started recording this video, I still wasn't sure. I did have Liverpool top, but I'm sorry for Liverpool fans. Jack, I know you're watching this video. I'm sorry. But last minute, I switched to Man City win the league and Liverpool in 2nd. And there's one primary reason for this. I think Man City will get Koulibaly from Napoli, which will be absolutely amazing for them. If they can get Koulibaly from Napoli, which I do think they will, then their centre-back partnerships now is Laporte and Koulibaly. 2 world-class defenders, no doubt. And that was what was holding them back last season, was Laporte's injury, which meant they had to play usually a back 2 of Otamendi, very error-prone defender himself, and Fernandinho, who's not actually a defender. Yes, quality player, Fernandinho, but he's not a centre-half. And that was what let them down. And even if one of Koulibaly or Laporte get injured, they've still got Nathan Ake, good player. Still got John Stones. Yes, can be a bit shaky, but still decent player, who are backup. And I think they'll just have more squad depth than Man City. And yes, Liverpool are an amazing side, and they 100% deserve to win the league. But I do think Man City will just have that little bit more when it comes to winning it. But I think it'll be a lot closer this year. I do think it'll be really close. But that is my Premier League predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out.